Y a partir de este momento, Montgomery al Día. Un programa presentado por el Condado de Montgomery con el objetivo de mantener a la población latina informada sobre todo lo que acontece en nuestro condado. Un espacio informativo para que usted obtenga acceso directo a los servicios de su gobierno local. Aquí da inicio Montgomery al Día. Queda con ustedes la presentadora de este programa y portavoz hispana del Condado de Montgomery, Lorna Virgilí.
Así es, queridos amigos, muy buenas tardes y bienvenidos una vez más a casa. Montgomery al Día, su programa oficial del gobierno del condado de Montgomery, galardonado a nivel nacional. Y como cada martes a las 12 de la tarde, acá su presentadora y portavoz hispana de este condado, Lorna Virgilí. Gracias por esa sintonía y en este mes que estamos celebrando la herencia hispana de nosotros los inmigrantes, en este día tenemos a una inmigrante de invitada, una muy especial. Estoy hablando de nada menos y nada más que la vicegobernadora del estado de Maryland, Aruna Miller. Lieutenant Governor, good afternoon. Welcome. How are you doing? Hello?
I am doing great, Lorna. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I thought I had lost you for a moment there. I'm like, oh my God, she's gone.
No, it's that pesky mute button. You know, it gets me every time.
Don't worry about it. It's technology and we're live right now. So it is a wonderful pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and being here with us today. I was just saying in the opening that we're in the midst of celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And as you know, every year we celebrate our descendants. We celebrate the immigrants. And I introduced you as an immigrant today because you are not from Latin America, but you are an immigrant. So just to get started, I want you to share with the audience a little bit of your immigrant story, if you don't mind.
Of course. So I think as immigrants, we come from all parts of the world, right? My mom and dad decided early on that they were going to venture into North America. And let me tell you, they didn't come here as comfort seekers. They came here as risk takers, right? Because they left everything behind that they knew, their language, their culture, their family, in order to bring a new opportunity for their family. And I think that's the story of many immigrants. They're looking for opportunities for their family and making life better. And
let me go ahead and translate that real quick. Le preguntaba sobre la experiencia de ella como inmigrante porque vino a este país, no de Latinoamérica, de la India precisamente. Y claro, la historia del inmigrante es de todas las partes del mundo. Los padres de ella decidieron pues llegar a los Estados Unidos tomando riesgos, porque es riesgo, dejando atrás su cultura, su idioma, su familia. Todo esto porque una mejor oportunidad para el futuro de la familia, al igual que muchas familias que toman ese mismo riesgo. I'm sorry, we're going to be going back and forth in both languages like this.
I love it, Lorna. No problem at all. And so, of course, their risk-taking is what made all the difference in my life. So I came here when I was 7 years old from India. And truth be told, it was quite a traumatic experience for me, so to say, because my parents were already here. I didn't know my parents. I didn't know my siblings. And I'm leaving everything I know as a small child and coming to a strange country with strange people and a strange family. So it was really a traumatic experience for me. When I think back, you know, my fondest memory.
So your parents left India before you did, actually, and you were kind of left behind. That probably resonates with a lot of members in our community, where the parents have to leave before in order to get established here in the United States, and then, you know, the children travel. I didn't know that was part of your history. It is sort of part of mine as well. And for a moment while you were talking about that, I got a little sad too. It reminded me of my own story, but it's all good. Let me go ahead and translate what you just said. Una historia de riesgo que marcó la diferencia, obviamente, en la vida de ella. Llegó aquí a los 7 años de edad, proveniente de la India, pero una experiencia traumática porque en su familia, los padres vinieron anteriormente. Ella básicamente no los conocía, no conocía a sus hermanos. y pues fue parte de esa reunificación familiar y la hizo a ella quien es hoy en el día de hoy. Una historia que resuena con muchas de nuestras familias donde existe esa separación familiar. My apologies, go ahead. Get going. Keep going. We're going to be doing this.
You do not need to apologize, Lorna. We are so thankful for everything that you're doing in your outreach to the Latino and Hispanic communities. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do. So I was the last of my siblings to arrive to the United States. My parents lived in upstate New York, and I'll never forget my first day of school in America. And I know many in the Latino and Hispanic community can relate to this as well. Walk into the classroom, none of the kids look like me, and I can't speak a word of English. But I want
la historia de ella, parte de su reunificación familiar, cuando llegó, la familia ya vivía en la parte norte del estado de Nueva York y recuerda su primer día de colegio, cuando llegó al salón de clase, ninguno de los niños se parecía a ella. Ella no hablaba ni una gota, ni una palabra de inglés y esta es una historia que quizás es muy similar a lo de muchos niños latinos e hispanos.
And I want to fit in best I can with my classmates. And the only time that we could do that is at the cafeteria during lunchtime. So I figured the best way to fit in is to do everything that the kids were doing, be just like them. So I ate American food for the first time and drank cold milk for the first time in my life.
You know what? It's very funny that you mentioned that because I remember that as well.
Yes.
I remember that same experience. You're going to make me cry here. What can I say? Ella recuerda precisamente cuál fue su primera experiencia. Lo mejor que trató de hacer fue tratar de integrarse en el colegio lo más posible y qué mejor oportunidad la hora del almuerzo en la cafetería. Tratar de hacer lo mismo que hacían, imitar lo que hacían los otros estudiantes, almorzar por primera vez en su vida, probó la comida americana y por primera vez en la vida tomó la leche fría. Yo le compartía que esa fue también mi experiencia y seguro la de muchos de ustedes cuando vinieron a integrarse acá a los Estados Unidos al sistema escolar. Continue, please.
So I thought I did a really good job pretending like I was an American child, went back to the classroom feeling confident, and I proceed to vomit all over my desk.
Oh boy, that didn't happen to me.
That's good.
Básicamente que ella ese día en particular y nos está compartiendo una historia muy personal sobre cómo se integró inicialmente acá en los Estados Unidos. Estamos conversando con la vicegobernadora del estado de Maryland, Aruna y que desafortunadamente después que trató de integrarse, que se comió la comida, la leche fría, desgraciadamente regresó al salón de clases y en su escritorio devolvió, o sea, vomitó todo lo que había comido. Okay.
So then my mom is called and I'm crying to my mother and telling her I don't want to stay in this country. I want to go back to grandma who raised me and I hate cold milk.
Y después de ese episodio, pues obviamente llamaron a la madre desde el colegio, ella estaba llorando, ella quería regresarse a la India con los abuelos y moraleja, después de eso no tomó más nunca leche fría. Do you drink cold milk today or not? That's done.
Oh, to this day, I do not like cold milk.
Traumatized for life. All right. So fast forward from that experience that shapes us and
but it's got a happy ending, Lorna. I want to share that with you. So I go home. By the end of the day, I hear a knock on the door and I open the door. Standing in the snow is one of my classmates, which in her hands are a whole bunch of paintings that all the kids had made for me with smiley faces, little hearts, little teary faces. And it took the educator in the classroom to teach what I believe is the most important quality of a human being, and that is to have compassion and empathy for others.
Pero bueno, esta es una historia que tuvo un final feliz porque al final del día llegó a su casa, tocaron a la puerta, abrió, había una nevada precisamente y era una estudiante que traía una tarjeta, regalitos con básicamente sonrisitas, etcétera, en apoyo. Una enseñanza muy importante por parte de quien era el educador, el maestro del salón, que le enseñó a los estudiantes lo que es la compasión y la empatía hacia otros. It is a wonderful, I'm glad you shared that story. It's a wonderful story because, yeah, compassion and empathy is one thing that sometimes as immigrants, we don't feel all the time. But, you know, there are good stories out there, and thank you for sharing that. So let's fast forward to you becoming an engineer, right? You studied in the field of sciences, moving to Montgomery County. You've been living in Montgomery County for what, 30 years now? And serving for the first time in public service in the county's Department of Transportation. Let's fast forward and running for office. To serve, you run for office first to what, in 2010, correct?
That's correct.
In 2010, to serve as a state delegate.
Yes.
In the state of Maryland. What made you run for office after that first experience, going through school, university up in Missouri, graduating, moving to another state in the country, and then having that government job and then running for office? Not long ago, 13 years ago.
Yes, that's a question I often get, Lorna. And I have to tell you, I'm what you call an accidental politician. It was never in my horizon ever to run for public office. But after I became a citizen, I had the great opportunity to vote for the first time in my life. And that's what made all the difference for me.
Le preguntaba, ¿no? Vamos a acelerar un poco esto, llega a la escuela, tiene esa experiencia, se gradúa de la Universidad de Ingeniería allá en el estado de Missouri, se muda al estado de Maryland, vive en el condado de Montgomery unos 30 años. Su primer trabajo en servicio público es precisamente en el Departamento de Transporte del condado de Montgomery. ¿Qué la hace? Postularse, convertirse en una política hace 13 años, en el 2020. Nunca lo pensó. Ella dice que ella es una política accidentalmente, pero una vez que se hizo ciudadano de los Estados Unidos y votó por primera vez, que ahí fue donde sintió el deseo de servir. So now that you are the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Maryland, gee, that's a really nice title, ma'am. I had a question that was for the end of the interview, but I'm going to post it now. How proud are your parents of you?
Well, I have to tell you, Lorna, I know my mom is. My father passed away in 1999. And since then, my mother has been living with me. And she tells me she feels like this is like heaven that she's living in right now. So I hope my dad is also proud of me.
Básicamente le preguntaba, ¿no? Qué orgullosos están sus padres de ella. Desafortunadamente, su papá falleció en el año 1999. Su mamá vive con ella y su mamá dice que se siente en el cielo del nivel de orgullo que tiene hacia ella por ser verdaderamente la vicegobernadora, una inmigrante de este estado de Maryland. Y ella espera que su papá, también desde el cielo, esté bien orgullosa de ella. Let's talk about transportation, because I know this has got to be near and dear to your heart, and it is. Back in August, the administration announced a path forward for the future of 495, I-270, and of course, the American Legion Bridge. You know how important that is for Montgomery County. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you. So moving forward, it's probably going to be sort of a slow process. It always is. Moving forward, what would you like to see in the development of these corridors that are so important for transportation and economic development in Montgomery County and the region?
You're right, Lorna. Look, transportation plays such a vital role in our economy and also in the quality of life and as an equity instrument, right? So this project particularly will be able to address all of this. One, look, we know people are stuck in gridlock. It's soul crushing to be in gridlock like that. And so we need to be able to provide the congestion relief that they're looking for, but it's got to be holistic. So we're looking at it from not only relieving traffic along the roadways, but also having a component of transit and making sure there's community engagement.
Le preguntaba sobre el anuncio que ha hecho, hablando de transporte, el anuncio que hizo la administración recientemente, el mes pasado, en relación a lo que es va a ser la remodelación, reconstrucción del puente American Leach, las carreteras 495 y 270, y moviéndose avanzando este proyecto. ¿Qué le gustaría ver? Bueno, todo esto tiene que ver no solamente con nosotros atascados en la congestión vehicular, sobre todo acá en el condado de Montgomery, sino tiene que ver con la economía, la calidad de vida y el tránsito en esta zona. De importancia para esto es la voz de la comunidad. So when you say community engagement, when are these community meetings going to start taking place throughout the state? I mean, throughout the region, not the state.
Right. Well, they'll be starting with Secretary Wiedefeld in our Maryland Department of Transportation. And the idea, Lorna, is when we get the feedback from the community, it's important for us because it makes the project better. And it's the community that has to live with the consequences of any transportation capital project. And we want to make sure we get it right.
Pues obviamente van a comenzar las conversaciones comunitarias con el secretario del Departamento de Transporte del Estado de Maryland, el secretario Wiedefeld, y es importante la opinión comunitaria para que el proyecto sea de alta calidad y se sirva a la población. Tenemos muchas preguntas para nuestra vicegobernadora del Estado de Maryland, pero bueno, vamos a tratar lo más posible. Let's work real quick because time is flying by about the work zone safety work group that you are leading. About 1,000 employees are working projects along our routes and our infrastructure, transportation infrastructure in the state. Many of them happen to be Hispanic. And recently you joined the Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration to provide an update on the progress of the work group. What are some of the highlights that this work group has come up with?
Yes, so we are focusing on driver education, and we're focusing on improving the operations of the roadway wherever work zones are being conducted. So, some of the ideas that are come forward, and we will have a final recommendation at the end of the year, and it could be regulatory, it could be through legislative, or it could be just through the executive branch that we address the many different ways that we can improve roadway construction safety. And it's not just the construction workers, but it's also roadway workers that, mowing the lawns and taking care of everything surrounding our roadways as well.
Algo de alta importancia para ella ha sido precisamente lo que tiene que ver. Hay un grupo que está en progreso sobre la seguridad de los trabajos en las vías, en las carreteras, y esto se trata de educación para los conductores, sobre todo en las operaciones de las rutas. Se trata de ideas que van a ser divulgadas para finales de año sobre la seguridad en la construcción. Pudiera ser de formas de regulaciones, a través de legislación, algo que implemente la rama ejecutiva, pero cuando se habla de seguridad en las carreteras, no es solo la construcción, también se trata de esos trabajadores que vemos a menudo quizás cortando la grama en las carreteras interestatales, seguridad para estas personas. So esto es importante. End of the year, you mentioned that you might have some of these ideas put together, right? At the end of the year?
That's right. We're already exploring raising possibly the citations related to speeding near work zones. That's one area. Making sure that emerging technologies that'll be able to better highlight the workers and the work zones, making it less confusing for drivers. So a lot of driver education that we will be looking at.
Estamos hablando de que quizás se puede recomendar ideas como quizás multas para las zonas estas donde están trabajando en las carreteras, en los empleados, todo con el transporte. También utilizar la tecnología para resaltar no solamente a los empleados que están trabajando, sino también pues resaltar la señalización para los conductores. Let's talk about opioids real quick. You have joined recently officials from the state regarding the Maryland Overdose Action Town Hall Series. This was up in Cambridge. The state is going to be doing these town halls across the 24 jurisdictions, including Montgomery County. I think Montgomery County might be scheduled for early November. we had a similar listening session here in Montgomery County in Spanish language for local officials. And there was one thing that kept coming over and over and over, which was we need some sort of rehab detox facility that caters to youth. What have you heard in other jurisdictions that resonate with what is happening in Montgomery County? And will you be around for this town hall in the county when it happens, I believe, sometime in early November?
Thank you. And you're absolutely right. We need to focus on our youth as well. And this is an area that I know that Secretary Emily Keller, who is the Special Secretary for Opioids, is taking a look at. Now, I've been to the town hall in Dorchester County, as well as in Baltimore City recently, and I absolutely will be there at Montgomery County's town hall as well. Again, Governor Moore and I believe those closest to the challenge are closest to the solution, which is why we are going to every single jurisdiction and hearing ideas and thoughts from others.
La secretaria especial Kelly, que es la que es asignada sobre el tema de los opioides, el fentanilo, como le preguntaba a ella, pues están llevando a cabo estas sesiones a través de todo el estado de Maryland, donde el estado está tratando de escuchar lo que está pasando en cada una de las 24 jurisdicciones en términos de las sobredosis relacionadas con opioides. Le preguntaba a ella en Montgomery, posiblemente para principios del mes de noviembre. Ella estuvo presente en la de Baltimore, la del condado de Worcester, y sin duda que tanto ella como el gobernador Wes Moore del estado de Maryland, pues quieren escuchar de las personas que están más cercanas a este problema, al reto, porque estas comunidades van a ser parte de la solución. Detox and Rehab for Youth Center. Very well, very needed. I mean, there is one up in Baltimore, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it another time because I want to move forward to another topic. Legislative session fast approaching. What are some of your priorities, and what is your relationship with the members now, the new and older members of the Montgomery County delegation in Annapolis, since you were a colleague and all of a sudden you are the lieutenant governor of the state?
Well, it's still the same, Lorna, meaning that we work in partnership and collaboration with others. And the state representatives are the closest to the communities that they represent. So we rely on them heavily to hear what it is that their communities' needs are, and we're going to work with them during this legislative session.
En términos de lo que será la sesión legislativa que se acerca a principios del año próximo, ya del 2024, como ella fue legisladora, fue parte de ese cuerpo, ahora es la vicegobernadora, le preguntaba cuál ha sido su relación con los miembros antiguos y los recientes que han sido electos para representar al condado de Montgomery en Annapolis. Pues es una relación de cooperación, se mantienen cercanos a la comunidad, son ellos, y continuarán trabajando. So, what added responsibility do you feel that you bear as being second woman to serve as lieutenant governor of the state of Maryland and the first woman of color and immigrant elected to this particular office? In addition to all the work that needs to be done, what else do you feel that you bear that...
No, I think that's a great question. First off, for Governor Moore and myself, our number one priority is making sure we keep the public safe, right? That's public safety is our number one priority. But given the unique demographics of both the governor and myself, it's a tremendous opportunity to let every young boy and girl out in the state of Maryland know that they belong in any space, in any room that they walk into.
Le preguntaba, más allá de las responsabilidades que obviamente pues son designadas a través de este puesto, ser una mujer inmigrante y la segunda en ocuparlo, ¿qué se siente ella en adición a todas las responsabilidades? Pues obviamente la seguridad pública es la prioridad número uno, pero siendo ella y también el gobernador proveniente de denominaciones de minorías, pues es una oportunidad para dejarles saber a todos los niños y niñas a través del estado de Maryland de que son bienvenidos en cualquier lugar que lleguen al estado de Maryland. We have about 4 minutes left, Lieutenant Governor. I wanted to ask you, you're a mom of 3 daughters. How
Yes,
are you? You're keeping a very fast-paced, obviously busy schedule. How are you currently balancing being the Lieutenant Governor for state, being a family member, raising kids, and that family life? How are you balancing that act?
I'm balancing it just like every other female in this great state of Maryland, right? We know that we wear multiple hats, and we know what our priorities are. First comes family, and then comes everything else to be able to contribute to the society in the best and most meaningful way.
¿Cómo balancea, no? El ser la vicegobernadora del estado de Maryland y ser madre, miembro de una familia de 3 hijas, etcétera. Pues nada, haciéndolo como lo hacen muchas mujeres en nuestro estado de Maryland y en nuestra sociedad, pues tomando primero a la familia, dándole prioridad a la familia y posteriormente pues tomando las medidas para servir de mejor forma en nuestra comunidad, en nuestro estado. Hispanic outreach. The state, unfortunately, has always lagged when it comes to Hispanic outreach. Not your fault. I'm talking about the past. Now I'm hearing a lot of Spanish language ads on Pandora. Recently, I heard the Good Samaritan law from the state's Department of Health, reaching out to the Hispanic community in our language. What else? It's in the pipeline coming up from the state in order to reach out to the fast growing Spanish-speaking population throughout the state.
Well, first off, it is really exciting to be joining you today for the Hispanic Heritage Month, right? As we celebrate the rich and diverse cultures of the Hispanic community and to the invaluable contributions that they have all made to our great state and our nation.
Le preguntaba qué más va a hacer el estado de Maryland en términos de llegar en nuestro idioma a la población hispanoparlante. Hemos últimamente estado escuchando algunos comerciales en español a través de Pandora, precisamente hablando a nuestra comunidad. Pues para ella este es un buen primer paso, celebrar el mes de la herencia hispana con nosotros. Es verdaderamente un momento bonito y vamos a continuar todo esto por las grandes contribuciones de los hispanos en nuestro estado. I think we have less than a minute, Lieutenant Governor. Hispanic Heritage Month message to the community.
That I want to tell the community that they belong here, and in the Moore Miller administration, we see you and we hear you, which is why we have 3 of our cabinet secretaries that are of Latino descent, including Secretary Laura Herrera-Scott, Secretary Rafael Lopez, and Special Secretary Maria Martinez. That's just the beginning. We need to have the engagement of the entire Latino Hispanic community. Come and talk to us. Let us know what your needs are, and we are ready to work with you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to summarize that. El mensaje de la comunidad hispanoparlante es que ustedes todos pertenecemos en la administración de Westmore y Aruna Miller. Los vemos, los escuchamos. Tenemos a 3 latinos importantes en nuestro gabinete, a María Martínez, a Laura Scott y al secretario López. Así que aquí estamos para escucharles y conversar. My apologies, time is up. We could sit here and chat a little longer, but this is a first. You're more than welcome to come back, as you well know it, and much appreciated. Thanks for being here with us today. Have a great afternoon, and we'll circle back.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti. Chao.
Chao.
Y hasta aquí su espacio, Montgomery al Día. Gracias por su amable sintonía y será entonces hasta el próximo martes a la misma hora por esta su emisora.